One of the big stories that we have been following today surrounds the imposed 25% tariff on foreign-made cars, which would impact about half of all vehicles sold in the U.S. Joining us now to discuss this and so much more is Mr. Parag Amin. He is the founder of Law Office of Parag Amin, and he's kind enough to join us right here on the Live Zone. Always good to see you, Parag. Welcome back to the show.
Always a pleasure, Guy.
All right, so I said earlier on Lion Lunch Hour, I started off by saying, a new car. I always just love saying that. In this case, if you're trying to get a new car, well, soon and very soon, it will likely cost you a lot more money. We're talking about the potential or the announcement of the 25% tariff on all foreign-made cars, which would be imported. The number one question, why will this now cost me more money?
Yeah, absolutely, guys. So if you're looking to get a car, now may be the time, or you might have to wait for a little bit because it's going to cost you more money because tariffs increase the cost of things that are imported into the United States. So when you have a tariff onto foreign-made cars, it's an extra tax for every car that's foreign-made that gets delivered into the U.S. And ultimately, that gets passed on to the average everyday consumer. So it does increase inflation, and that's the problem with tariffs, is that ultimately it means the person buying ends up paying more.
All right, so I got to look at the flip side of the coin here then, Parag. So why impose this tariff? I mean, there has to be some benefit in the president's eyes in order to go about to do so.
That's right, guys. So ultimately, President Trump is trying to bolster and boost the domestic market, U.S.-made vehicles, by artificially increasing the price of foreign-made vehicles. Meaning when foreign vehicles come into the United States and you tax them, ultimately they're going to be sold at a higher price than what U.S. cars are made from. So ultimately what you're looking at is just a higher price for foreign cars, and so it'll be cheaper to buy U.S.-made vehicles than foreign-made vehicles.
And so, Parag, earlier today, I was obviously studying, reading up on this, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I saw one report that stated not only will we see prices rise with regard to new cars, but used cars as well. Is that the case?
That's right, because ultimately, part of the issue we're going to see, Guy, is it's not just a tax on foreign-made vehicles, but we're also going to be seeing increased taxes on parts that are put into U.S.-made vehicles. So the challenge is going to be, realistically, the supply side of things is going to decrease because manufacturers are probably going to decrease manufacturing because the increased cost of manufacturing and the slowdown in the overall sales of vehicles. So what we'll likely see is an increased demand for used vehicles because there aren't as many new vehicles coming in, and those new vehicles are more expensive. So people are going to be looking at used vehicles as an opportunity to potentially save money. But the problem is when everybody's in the market looking for a vehicle and they're looking at used vehicles, the natural price is going to increase of used vehicles as well.
Wow. All right. Well, I know you don't have a crystal ball in front of you, but I'm curious. I guess you could speculate. How much more money are we talking about per car?
Likely, unfortunately, thousands of dollars, Guy. Look, I mean, the challenge right now is President Trump has put tariffs on aluminum, steel, vehicles. So when President Trump came into office, he had promised lower prices. And unfortunately, we're looking at higher prices on almost everything because of these tariff wars that President Trump has started with some of our closest trading partners around the world. And realistically, I think in the short term, we're looking at higher prices across the board and realistically thousands and thousands of dollars, unfortunately, on any kind of vehicle that we're looking to purchase.
All right. Well, something we will definitely keep a very close eye on. Yet again, we have been speaking with Parag Amin. He is the founder of Law Office of Parag Amin, and yet again, kind enough to join us right here on the Live Zone. Always good to see you, sir.
Always a pleasure, Guy.